I feel like the root issue is Alexis. If you're pillow talking with your wife, that should stay within the household. It's private information that shouldn't be shared. So Alexis going to share this back to Morgan is basically snitching.
So let me get this right. The only reason why Morgan is upset with Ben is because she feels that one, he should have supported her when she lied that she had a BSc, and two, he should have told her the truth that he was confiding in Justin about the problems they were having or the issues he was having in his marriage. That's not good enough. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight, season 4, season 15, episode 11. So the episode obviously continues from when Alexis and Justin left off after they sort of blew up at the table. They seem to have made up and have moved on. The couples then meet up, so the wives meet up separately from the husbands, and obviously the topic of discussion is going to be Ben and Morgan, since the Justin and Alexis debacle has ended. And so Morgan, as per usual, was complaining to the wives that Ben has been lying to me, that he's been confiding. He hasn't been confiding in Justin, and yet I've got proof that he has actually been confiding in Justin. I've moved out, we've separated. And it's like, well, if you're separated, why not just say you want a divorce? Why continue to say you're separated? Say you want a divorce, have your decision there and move on. All you still want is to be getting the checks from mafs, as far as I'm concerned. Just on his part, Ben obviously meets with the husbands, and they ask him what's going on, and he sort of explains himself in the sense that, I have been confiding in Justin, and so, but I've always said to my wife that I haven't, and so she is upset. That's why she's upset, and it's like, that's not a big deal. That when she said he's lying, he's lying, he's lying, I thought it was such a major lie. Even Justin said, well, it's not like he cheated. I know there are other things that can go wrong in a marriage outside of cheating. So I don't think that's a good enough excuse. I think with trust and confidentiality, obviously there are issues that can result in a couple splitting up. Yeah, but I don't think this is it, unless there's something else that we're not being shown. So the wives listened to Morgan vent, and then they decided, I think with the aid of the producers, they decided to go and confront Ben, because all the wives were like, let's go, let's go, let's go. And so when they turned up, Ben was in the middle of sort of confiding in the husband, saying, my wife is a bit stronger than me, and so, because he's already admitted he's a people pleaser, and I think the other thing is he hates confrontation. So I think this is why when Morgan begins to sort of be confrontational towards him, he then sort of backs down and keeps quiet. And he was right to say, I don't want to keep holding it in because I'm going to explode, and I don't want that to happen. So he has been venting to somebody else. And I said this last time, that at least he's venting to Justin. He's not venting to his family members, because if he was venting to his family and his friends, that would be the end of that marriage. Because once they find out that, then they would not want him to continue to be in this marriage. And I don't think they're aware of how traumatic this all is at the moment for him, because I have a feeling that his mom would have stepped in, or his brothers or his friends would have stepped in by now. So the wives turn up, and the husbands can clearly see that it's a setup. They then sit there, and the conversation starts. And so Miguel is the one to sort of ask Ben, do you understand where your wife is coming from? What would and Ben has always been someone, I think, who's willing to make the changes for his marriage to work. So he owned up to his fault. He said, I shouldn't have, lied to my wife. He should have told her what was going on. And Morgan tried to make it like it wasn't a big deal. Oh, if you had just told me that, at times when I'm angry, I vent to, things wouldn't have gone out of hand. And it's like, I don't think that's it. I don't think that's it. Oh, and also the nursing thing, I feel he should have had my back. And you lied to the experts, and you want him to be a part of your lie. No, you lied. That's your own problem. Don't lie to someone and then expect somebody else to shoulder the problem with you. And you could see, as soon as Nate held her feet to the fire, Morgan then backed down and started to cower down, because she realized she wasn't the alpha in that conversation. And this is what I feel like, because she knows that she can get away with a lot of things with Ben. This is why she's behaving that way. So the Dr. Pepper visits all the couples. I hear people saying, oh, the experts should be available. But in a normal marriage, you're not going to have an expert on hand 24/7. So I don't see why they should have an expert on hand 24/7. These couples are getting more expert input than the couples in the first 10, 11, 12 seasons. So people are just not ready for marriage, unlike people before who really wanted to get married and still things didn't work out. Anyway, we'll start off with Morgan and Ben. For me, I think Ben needs a divorce. That's just me. Ben needs a divorce and he needs this peace of mind. He did agree. Like after at the end of the conversation with the husbands and the wives, you could see that all the wives were now on his side because he owned up to his mistakes. He said, I shouldn't have agreed to marry someone from a different culture. I shouldn't have said yes to, marrying someone who's stronger than me because in reality it's not what it seems. I think I was a bit, living in make believe, thinking that this could work, but that doesn't seem to be the case. And I've signed up for therapy, and you could see the switch turn in sort of Kristen and Stasia's heads because they realized that he might actually not be the problem. His wife might actually be the problem. So they had a conversation with Dr. Pepper. I think the editing is why it seems like Dr. Pepper went more hard on Ben than she did on Morgan. But I think the information she gave them was very helpful information that if Ben works on that information with his continued counseling, he will make an excellent husband for the next person he's in a relationship with. I don't think Morgan is it. I don't think Morgan is it. And I think Morgan is going to regret this decision to treat Ben the way she has. And everyone keeps asking her, and she said, oh, he lies that he lies. If when the husbands asked her if it was something major, she should have said it there and then, but all it is she's upset. So she's decided to separate from her husband because her husband confided in somebody else. That doesn't make sense. Dr. Pepper, I think, realized that Morgan is a lost cause. And whatever she says, Morgan is going to always play victim because she really didn't have that much feedback unless it was edited out. Because I know Dr. Pepper to always be impartial and she's always able to sort of look at the problem and sort of address the problem and not sort of dance around the problem. That's one of the reasons I like about her. So they then were told to write letters to their younger selves. And Morgan is looking for any ammunition she can get to sort of use against Ben. That's how I see it. Because she allowed Ben to read his letter, and then after he read his letter, she said, oh, well, I don't want to give you any more ammunition because anything I give you, you're sort of, using it against me. And it's like, why in the first place did you turn up? Why didn't you just stay at home? Why did you turn up only for you to turn around and say that? Why didn't you leave this poor young man alone? And you could see he was broken because he went into another room and sort of closed the door. I wish you could do a Chris from last season and just say, today's my decision day. I'm sorry, but I'm done. I don't want any more. It's not worth whatever money they're giving him for him to continue to go through that trauma. I think he's been traumatized enough. She doesn't appreciate the man that she has. It's time for him to move on and look for something else. And then with Stasia and Nate seem to be doing very well. And I think Nate is the revelation this season. I remember when the season started and a couple of episodes in, I said, oh, Nate is going to be the Woody of the season in the sense that he's going to transform and be something that nobody expected him to be. And I think this is what he is becoming. I think the counseling is helping him. I think the fact that he's now attracted to his wife and is loving his wife, I think is the other thing, because they spoke to Dr. Pepper and Dr. Pepper was able to sort of address the concern, which is the fact that Stasia wanted Nate to move at the same pace as her, and Dr. Pepper said, you didn't marry yourself, so you can't expect, someone else to behave the way you behave. And you can see that they're really working on their relationship. They're really trying to make sure that, they look at life after the experiment, because even Nate's dad came when they visited Nate's previous home and sort of had a conversation with him. And you could see the way Stasia was behaving, that I think she's really trying to put her best foot forward and she's really trying to make her marriage work. She took Nate to the family that, she lived with before she finished high school. And I really love how their relationship is progressing. I really love the fact that they're willing to compromise and they're willing to learn from one another. And I think this episode helped them sort of fill in the blanks in a lot of areas they might have had problems with. From there, Miguel and Lindsay. Miguel and Lindsay, for me, are another couple that I think I really love in the sense that they are really putting in the work to make sure that their relationship works. there's been quite a transformation, because I remember when they sat down with Dr. Pepper, Dr. Pepper was able to address the issue of love, because I think this was one of their major problems. And she told them that, love, you know, will constantly change, and what you love about somebody today might not be the same thing that you love about them 30 years from now. And so I like the fact that Miguel, even when he took Lindsay to the Puerto Rican house, he showed her where he grew up and stuff on the map and was explaining the culture to her. He is now talking of a life after the experiment, whereas before he was just looking at life within the first 8 weeks. He was talking about, I want to see how our upbringing will affect our children and how we raise our children. And Lindy on her part took Miguel dancing, because she said this is something she hadn't done until she got married. So they are another couple which is progressing very well. I really hope we have at least 2 successful marriages this season. I'm tired of everybody divorcing at the end of the season. Oh God. Anyway, from there we go to Alexis and Justin. Alexis and Justin for me. Hmm, I don't know. So they had a conversation with Justin, sort of showing Alexis where he grew up and the fact that his brother raised him and he lived with his brother, and his brother tried to get him to do a lot of things for himself, which makes sense because his brother was only 19 when he took in, his 13-year-old brother. So it makes sense that he wanted his brother to understand and to sort of stand on his own 2 feet. Um, Alexis, on her part, took Justin to a basketball court and sort of discussed how she loved basketball and how she grew up in a house with strong women. And it's like that that strong black woman title can lead to a lot of misunderstandings, in the sense that it can be a positive thing, it can be a negative thing, and it can be something that people can use against you. So I really wish people would find a different way of expressing their strength or their ability to cope with certain situations, or cope, you know, with any challenges that they might face. Um, we found out that Justin's dog is no longer coming back, and I think this is why Dr. Pepper didn't go in hard on them. I really didn't listen much about them, just because I'm still mad at them, because they're at the base, they're the root of all the issues that are going on with Justin and with Ben and Morgan. And then Mitch and Christine for me, I think there's been quite a transformation in Mitch. That's just me saying, because he's totally transformed himself. I think because he's realized what he has in Kristen, and he's realized that, because Kristen said, last week she went on about how she's going to explode if things don't change. She just doesn't want to be the passenger in whatever, and she also brought that up to Dr. Pepper, and so I was surprised that Mitch went to play baseball with Kristen, and he actually participated in it and didn't throw a tantrum. He brought pictures to show Kristen about his childhood. He took Kristen to his dad's grave. And so you can really see that he is, I think, appreciating the fact that he's very lucky to have Kristen in his life. And if he's not careful, she's going to leave. Because I think at first he thought, oh, I'm all that. And I think as the marriages progressed and she started to speak out, he's realized that if he's not careful, he's going to lose her. And if he loses her, chances of him getting a woman like Kristen again are next to none. But that's me. Anyway, I digress. Thanks, guys, for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye, everyone.